In this video, we're going to take a look at a word problem. We have, you spent $7.25 this week. This is $3.65 less than you spent last week. Write and solve an equation to find the amount S you spent last week. So my variable is right here, my S. And I know that that is representing the amount spent last week. So I'm going to put amount spent last week. And when we write this equation, typically what you're going to see is you're going to see the variable with some kind of operation happening to it equals a number by itself. So when I read a problem like this, I like to think of it as kind of like a little puzzle that you have to put together. So here's what I mean by that. So right away in this first block, they say you spent $7.25 this week. And then they say this. So they're referring back to the 725 there. They're referring to what I spent this week. So 725 is $3.65 less than you spent last week. Now, another good little tip here is to always know what this word is means. So anytime you see the word is in a word problem, you want to think of equality. So the 725 is equal to, now we have one more part here, 365 less than. So now we need to be okay with, how do you deal with less than? Well, for one, you know you're subtracting. All right, so if I think of less than, I want to subtract. Now what's really important here is that I get this order correct. So for example, just to do an easier one real quick, if I said what is 2 less than 5? What is 2 less than 5? Hopefully you would say that 2 less than 5 is 3. And how do I get that? Well, I do 5 minus 2. So anytime you see less than, you're going to see this get flipped in terms of the order here. So 2 less than 5 would be 5 minus 2. 365 less than what you spent last week. So another piece here I need to make sure I understand is that what I spent last week is right here. That's my S value, right? So the amount I spent last week is S. So 365 less than S is going to be S minus 365. And that equals, because it is, $7.25. Now, I know this is a pretty complicated situation here, can be a pretty confusing problem. So let me talk about this with a number line. So you spent $7.25 this week. So let's put the $7.25 right here. And this is, of course, for this week. Now it says this is, once again, the 725 is 365 less than what you spent last week. So now I know if this is 365 less than what I spent last week, what I spent last week is going to be over here. It's going to be bigger, right? So over here is going to be last week, and that's some value S. So basically what's happening is that, from the 725 to the S, there's going to be a 365 added to that. That's how I'm going to show that the 725 is 365 less than what I spent last week. Or using this equation, I'm going to take last week's number and I'm going to subtract 365 from it. And I'm going to get this week's number of 725. All right, so hopefully that helps with seeing how this all gets set up. From here, I got to do the inverse of subtracting 365. So I'm going to add $3.65 to both sides of the equation. 365s are going to cancel out. 725 plus 365. So 5 plus 5 is 10. Write down the 0. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 6 is 9. Bring my decimal straight down, and 7 plus 3 is 10. So the amount of money I spent last week is $10.90. So I'll just write a sentence saying that. So I spent $10.90 last week. So now I know that this S right here is that number. It's $10.90.